morning, guys. It is 9 a.m. and I'm filming a podcast episode for you guys today. Kind of crazy, but this is the 10th episode of the Hot Girl Philosophies, and I don't know, that's just crazy to me. 10, guys. I've made 10 episodes. I checked my rating on Spotify. I have 455 people who have rated my podcast, which to me, that's a huge win. Like, that's a huge achievement. I don't even think I was expecting more than like 150 people to actually give my podcast a rating, so it's kind of cool. Like, I don't know, like, I feel like a legit podcaster, and honestly that just motivates me to be more active. But life has been lifing, y'all. I came back from Paris a month ago. I came back from New York last week, and my life has just been kind of crazy. I've been learning so much, and I'm so excited to share with you guys a few things that have been happening in my life, I guess, or things I've just learned. Of course, you guys know I'm always on YouTube and I love making my YouTube videos, but there are times where I tell you guys things happening in my life and I get deep, and then I get that comment that's like, hey, you talked a little too long in this video. And as much as there's that part of me that's like, oh, okay, who cares, you know, film whatever you want, there's also that part of me that's like, we live in an age where everybody kind of just has a shorter attention span, and so I do feel like I do have like that half audience that wants me to talk, and then we have that other half audience that's like, where's the visuals, where are the effects, what's happening, let's switch the scene, if that makes sense. So I guess that's why I created my podcast anyways, because I wanted to give myself the platform to actually speak about deeper and more spiritual and profound topics that sometimes, you know, YouTube just, I don't know, can't get down to. Today I'll be diving into topics like surrendering, letting go, letting the universe take over, because I mean, I think this is something that a lot of us deal with nowadays, but it's just not knowing how to let go, surrendering control over our lives, and just letting the universe take over. Like, can we trust the universe? I think that's really important, but not the easiest thing to learn. It's not taught in schools. It's not honestly taught in many places, but it's mostly because we live in a society where most people feel that they need to control their lives. So it makes sense why it's not being taught. But that's why I'm gonna try my best to, I guess, give you guys a perspective that might help. But before we get started, I just want to give a huge shout out to all of the girlies out there who are focusing on bettering themselves, focusing on self-development, self-growth, self-help, all of that spirituality. Know that I see you. You are seen. I am so proud of you. Like, the fact that you're here, it shows how much you care for yourself, and that's beautiful. Since the last time I've been here, I've definitely become even more spiritual. It's crazy. I like get deeper and deeper and I uncover more and more layers. But you know, I like to think of the human as like this thing, this body of thing, where if you go into your soul, I guess, like if you look inward into your body, we are so complex, we are so grand, and there's so much more to learn about ourselves. And we always think that the answers to our lives is always going to be outside of us, whether it be to get a specific job, make specific money, go to a specific school, whatever. But I say this all the time, the answers to your life, to fulfillment, to being happy are never going to be outside of you. And that's just the reality. I guess that's my reality. The answers will always be inside you, inward, in your soul, in your heart. And you know the answers to your life, but are you going inward to figure it out, right? As they say, the only way out is in. The only way to get out of a dump, to get out of feeling miserable, to get out of feeling unhappy, is to go inward. The only way out is in. So you gotta look inward, because you have a whole infinite soul and beautiful spirit inside you, and it's waiting for you to unlock it. You know how outside of Earth we have the universe? Have you ever thought why it's called the universe? It's because when you look inward into your soul, you have an entire universe that's literally waiting for you to discover it, waiting for your soul to be heard. And so that's why I always tell you guys look inward, not outward, okay? And also Zuri is next to me, my cat. So if you guys hear me moving a lot, it's because she's right next to me and she is literally asking for so much cuddles. But life update, my dog, my husky, had puppies, and so we got 10 dogs in my house right now, y'all. I don't know how I'm doing it, okay? But yes, shout out to all my girlies who are out there self-discovering. That's so beautiful. I like to see life as energy, and like we are like this blob of energy. That's how I like to think about it. And right now, our energy is in a physical body because we're having an experience as a human. Like, we've been born into this human body. Why though? Why are we born human? I believe we were born human because humans experience such a unique range of emotions, a unique life that, you know, being an energy blob, you cannot experience that unless you are in this 3D world. I don't know. I guess I could be getting ahead of myself, and maybe this could be an episode for next time, but like, I truly believe we are energy in a human body currently, and one day when we die, our soul will return as the energy that it was wherever we came from. And I personally do believe that we reincarnate, and the more we reincarnate, each lifetime is meant for us to advance our soul. And so I believe the absolute end goal is for us to continue to develop and grow and, I don't know, become better, realize that we are one with the universe and we are literally love embodied, continuously living through that lens of how can I grow, how can I develop, how can I bring love to a situation, how can I find fulfillment in this lifetime. I don't know, this is just, I guess, the things that run through my mind. But that's why I say shout out to my girlies who are working on themselves, because that's why you were put on this earth. Your literal reason for existence is to develop, because you are a soul, you're a spiritual being, and so you're doing it right when you're focusing on you, you're learning more about you, and I'm proud of you. Good job. Like, what the fuck, you guys are doing this. Anyways, let's get into today's topic. Like I said, we live in a society that makes you feel like you have to control your life, and I know you guys feel this. We all do. Honestly, it's a part of being human. We all just want to feel like we're doing something right because we like community. Naturally, as a human, we want to feel accepted by those around us, and to be accepted in this society means to make a certain amount of money to be successful in, I guess, society's eyes, right? Whether that means how much you make, or what house you live in, what school you have go to, who you're dating, who you're married to, how many children you have. These are just societal expectations, and they expect you by a specific age to have it all together. I'm talking about this because living up to expectations can be really difficult. I don't think it's the funnest thing to do. I just don't think that I, as a soul, was put on this earth to live under someone else's expectations of me. Am I living for you, or am I living for me? You know what I mean? Also, there will be a Q&A at the end, so stay tuned for that. But in this last year, I think that I've really learned how to surrender control. Obviously, I have my times where, you know, I still struggle, but I have a few ways of thinking, or a few techniques, or a philosophy that I like to go back to that always grounds me back into the present, back into my own authenticity, my own life, where I'm not trying to cater to someone else. Like, I have practices, and so that's why I'm here. But before I really got into spirituality, like deep, like this last year, from 2020 to 2023, those were my years of trying to control my life, because when I was 19, you know, I finally was able to financially fund myself to buy a car, to move out, live on my own, and I was literally independent. But with that comes a huge load of responsibilities, I guess, by society, because, you know, you have to pay your bills, and when you make a certain amount of money, people expect you to be financially literate and invest your money specifically, and all those things were honestly just a lot for me. I did not know how to handle the stress, the expectations, and I ended up super depressed, full of anxiety. I wanted to control my life and I tried my hardest, but in that control, I truly lost myself. It's like, are you controlling life or is life controlling you, girly? 100%, I was being controlled by life, my negative thoughts, my negative thinking patterns, all of these negative things. Money was controlling me now. I was no longer in control of my life, and that was the worst feeling ever. It was so terrible that I got sick. Like, when I tell you guys, I fainted 3 times in 1 year for no reason. There was literally like absolutely no evidence to point as to why I did that. I went to the doctors, I saw a neurosurgeon. Like, when I tell you guys, I was not okay. It did not feel good. It was the worst time of my life. I did not want to be alive. And that's because I was no longer in control of my life. But how is that possible when I was the one trying to control my life? When you try to control your life and you're now living up to the expectations of those around you, you're not living a life that is authentic to your soul. And then your soul is like, hey, this is not what I want to do. And that's when you become misaligned. Your soul is not aligned. I believe we're mind, body, soul creatures. We have a mind, our brain. We have our body, physical health, right? And then we have our soul, spirit health. It's very important to stay aligned because when you're not aligned, you're gonna feel that. Like, your body will know, your intuition will know. In this past year, I've really learned how to listen to my body, my mind, body, soul, listen to my intuition. I feel like a lot of people don't credit intuition enough. They almost feel like it's not really like a thing. It's like, oh, it's just your brain. Guys, we are conscious, fully conscious. Compared to other animals on this earth, we are so conscious that we've created this entire society. We are so smart. Everything has a brain. I'm telling you guys, we have a soul. Like, our soul is why we thrive on creativity, ideas, love, these things. We are mind, body, soul creatures. And so when I say we have intuition, y'all, we are a soul, an infinite, beautiful being. And so we gotta cater to it, because if we don't, we're just a walking piece of meat, right? Living for other people. And that's just not how I'm gonna live. But living under the expectations of others honestly puts you in such a scarcity mindset, because, you know, with timelines that society puts on you, you get to a certain age where you feel like you're running out of time. Girl, we're not running out of any time, but society makes you feel that way. And so here's, I guess, something that has helped me, because I no longer live in scarcity. I know I have my entire life to figure it out, and I do not care if other people look at me or judge me, because am I living for them or am I living for me? I've done the work, and this past year has honestly felt so different. I feel so free and happy and content. I used to judge myself for not having a house or not, I guess, just meeting certain expectations of people, but I don't live by that anymore. I'm super content. I'm really happy. This is the best I've felt in my entire life. Like, coming back from Paris and New York, those were so life-changing and profound, but I feel a greater sense of knowing who I am. And that's beautiful. I guess the question here is, Sandy, how did you release the control? What did you do? How did you become this confident and secure person who feels capable of literally everything, but also can surrender to the hands of the universe? Like, how do you do it? Letting go also just means allowing yourself to be in the mystery of life. I will tell you right now, I don't know where my life is going. I don't know what the future looks like, but I'm so content. And I am very happy. How can you do that? Right? Isn't that a great question? How can we get into that place? I literally ask myself this question all the time. Like, Sandy, how did you do it? Because I have learned so many amazing things in this past year. It's crazy because I will learn it and I will do it. And then when I get to the other end of it, I'm like, wait, how did I do that? Let me figure out the steps. And I guess maybe figuring out the steps of how I do things is why I created this podcast, because when I figure it out, I just want to share it. And so, okay, I'm getting off track, but like, let me share it. This past year, something I've learned is that I love learning and I love philosophy. It's one of my favorite things ever. And right now I'm in a phase where I love to learn about different religions, not because I'm a religious person in itself, but I am very into understanding different ways of thinking. And I feel like a lot of religions are so similar and also have their little differences, but I find it very, very interesting and I love it. And who knows, maybe one day I'll be in a philosophy sort of career. Who knows, maybe not. But that's why I literally named this Hot Girl Philosophies, because I learned that, like, you know, I do like philosophy and it's really fun. But one philosophy that has really touched my soul, like when I tell you guys, changed my life. I literally, well, why did I say literally like that? I literally got a tattoo that represents it. But the philosophy is Taoism, and perhaps you've heard of it. I'm sure you have at least a little bit in your life, but this is a very ancient spiritual Chinese philosophy by Lao Tzu, who has written the Tao Te Ching, which is a book that teaches Taoism. And Taoism used to be considered a religion, but now is more so lived as a spiritual practice or a way of living. I'm sure some people still see it as a religion, and then others see it as a spiritual practice. I definitely see it more as like a spiritual practice because it's just a concept that I actually have engraved into my daily living. And so Taoism is a philosophy that teaches living in harmony with the universe. It's centered on how to release control and how to be in flow. It focuses on how you can shift your perspective on life and how this can allow you to live a life that is less forceful, more fulfilling, more in flow. And honestly, I love it so much. Finding this philosophy has really shifted my perspective on how to live. Honestly, this past 3 months, I've been asking myself, like, how did I do it? How did I release control? Because I know people around me who are still living in control, and I forgot that I found this philosophy and it helped me. I kept asking myself, like, how did I do it? And I'm like trying to figure out the techniques, but truly, like, reading this book, the Tao Te Ching, has taught me so much. And what's interesting is that the book is like a series of poems, kind of. Every page is like a different poem. And so what I really enjoy about this philosophy is that it's very, very personalized to you. Just like how everyone perceives a poem differently, that's kind of like how this book is. You have to read what it says and then figure it out yourself. You like unlock the meaning, which is very personal to your own development. So I personally really enjoy that. I had like my own little book reading club with myself where I would have the poem, I guess, the page, the lesson, and then I would go online and then I would search other people's perspective on it and then kind of just gain my own like judgment, I guess. And that's what I did for the entire book, and it was so fun. I felt so heard with this book. So in Taoism, which is spelled Taoism or pronounced with the D. In Taoism, the Tao translates to the way. And like it is said in the book, the way never acts, yet nothing is left undone. And when I say the way, this is often referred to the flow of the universe, if that makes sense. The Tao is the way. And when I say the way, I like mean this universal life force energy that is literally around us. It is always flowing around us. It's a little confusing to grasp at first, but as I kept learning about this, I realized how much it actually gave me a sense of peace. But learning that there's this life force energy around us gives me peace that no matter what, everything will work out in the way it's supposed to, because there's this universal life force energy around us guiding everything to be in place. An example that I saw that really resonated was thinking about the universe as a river, and we are the boat, and the river is flowing along and we are just flowing down the river. We are flowing with the natural way of the universe, and if you row against the river's current, you're gonna feel more resistance, right? You're gonna feel tension, and that's when life will feel more hard, right? What I learned from this is that to be happy is to allow yourself to go with the flow, not forcing anything, because that would be going against the current, right? Going in flow. And there's this concept in Taoism where to be in flow and to be able to go with the flow of the universe is what we call WOAY, which is also known as effortless action, or another word for this is not forcing, which basically just means you are allowing the universe to flow and you just flow with the energy and you're not forcing anything. And this doesn't mean you're not doing anything, because like the quote said, the way never acts, yet nothing is left undone. You're not forcing anything, but in being aligned with this flow and this peace, everything is done from a place of authenticity, from your intuition. It's like living with your intuition and not forcing your social conditioning to make you want to do things. Does that make sense? Society will make you feel like you need to go to school, you need to get a degree, you need to do this, when in reality, you don't need to do anything. You can live in flow and listen to your intuition, live in harmony with the universe, with the the Tao. And sometimes people get confused with WOAY, like with doing nothing, because they say like do nothing and all is done, right? But that's not really what it means. Like it's doing nothing, yes, but it means like the nothing comes from not doing something that is resisting, if that makes sense. I guess if this is a little confusing, definitely do your own research on this, because it's something that's quite deep and profound, and it took me genuinely 2 weeks to really understand the concept of Taoism, but life-changing, y'all. Like if I could recommend a certain philosophy for the rest of my life, 100% Taoism. Like it's so beautiful. But this sort of approach to life, you know, where you're just allowing the universe to bring you where you need to be and for you to just listen to your intuition, this sort of approach is very different than the society we live in. Obviously with our society, we all want to have a sense of control of our future, and we just want to know what's happening. To truly embody Taoism means to just live and flow and listen to your intuition. Very hard to do in today's society because that's not the culture, right? But switching my perspective and living from this way has really allowed me to live more authentically to the ebb and flow of my own story, if that makes sense. Like yes, you're living by your intuition, and yes, it is definitely more spontaneous, but when I tell you guys, not living for someone else feels so damn good. Taoism has really taught me to just let go of desires and expectations and societal conditioning for the most part, because like I said, like society makes you feel like you need to do so many different things, especially being attached to certain outcomes. That's a huge thing. We all want to do something so that it will give us something in return, and we're basically from this place controlling how our future will turn out. Why am I talking weird? But Taoism really teaches you to release all of these things, because all of these things, they honestly give you a sense of lack. And what I mean by that is when you have desires that society makes you feel you need, when you don't have it, you feel like you're not enough. You feel like you're further away from success or further away from being enough because you don't have it. And that's why desire is the thief of all joy. Comparing your life is the thief of all joy. Wanting a certain outcome and not getting it or not being there now is the thief of all joy. And that's why releasing it is so profound. Can you live from a place of non-desire? Can you live from a place of non-attachment, non-expectations? What gives me a sense of peace is because there's this universal flow. Even without the attachment, I know I will get exactly where the universe has a plan for me. I trust in the universe's plan for me, and that's why I'm able to release it. You know, I used to think that I needed a certain amount of money and these certain achievements, but I actually don't need any of that if I'm happy with my current situation. Like if I'm happy in myself, in my heart, in my soul, in my body, that is literally all. I could end up poor, but in a reality where I have a family that loves me, a home that feeds me, shelters me, and gives me all that I need, like that is enough. But who knows what the universe has in store for you? You could be stupid rich, right? Honestly, like I release all of those things, all those desires, because I trust in the universe. You know how you have received such beautiful things that you never expected, like maybe your partner, you never would have expected your partner to be in your life, but they are, right? It's the same way with the universe. Sometimes the best things are not expected, and that's why we have to be able to release control, because how can you really appreciate beautiful things if you have desires and expectations? It's like a beautiful thing could be sent to you, but because you have these desires, you can't even fully appreciate it. Like for me, I had these expectations of being famous and wanting all these beautiful things, and then I get sent out to Coachella and I don't even enjoy it because I had these expectations, but I'm somewhere so beautiful. It's as if I had this expectation to have these big dreams, but then I live in a mansion, but it's not enough because I still have these other expectations. It's like having expectation gives you a feeling of lack. And so it's learning how to unlearn these expectations and desires so that you can be in a place where you could just be grateful for everything that you have now, not in the future, because the future is not now. Something that kind of allowed me to understand this was also just realizing that nature has this ebb and flow. You know, the trees and these plants, they all know exactly what to do at the exact time of the year, every year, and they have this certain cycle, but so do we. We are also one with nature, right? Because we're mammals, we're animals. We must trust that we naturally have a a cycle as well. And so forcing us to do, it goes against our natural state of being. Like if these trees have a natural ebb and flow because the universe has allowed it to, has assigned it to, won't we have this natural ebb and flow? Why do you need a certain job? Why do you need that? It's our brains, guys. Like, it's just society conditioning. Society needs you to do these things when it goes against our natural flow as, I guess, animals, as humans. And I'm not saying having goals is a bad thing, because I actually think it's beautiful to have goals. But are these goals from a place of lack? Are these goals coming from a place of wanting to be accepted by society or those around you? Or did it come from you, from your intuition? Are these goals a flow and aligned with your higher self? You know, when you live in the Tao, you're aligned with the universe. And that doesn't mean you don't do shit. It doesn't mean you're not doing. It just means that your actions come from your intuition, because your intuition is in flow with the universe. The universe speaks to you through your intuition. Living from your intuition is so profound and so beautiful, because then, only then, when you live from your intuition, can you be in flow with your natural purpose in life. Think about the amount of pain and anxiety that comes from trying to control your life and trying so hard to be something that you're not. The mystery in life is the beautiful part about life. Accepting that I don't know everything and that life is a mystery and one day it's gonna unfold itself has brought me so much peace. When I think about the time where I first felt content, I think it was when I finally just accepted, like, this is how my life looks like right now. This is my current reality. And instead of trying to control my reality and control, I sat down with myself and asked, well, I cannot control the future right now. I cannot control my past. So what can I do today to love my day, to feel excited today? Because the reality is, your future is not created in tomorrow. It's not created in yesterday. Your future is created in the now. What you do today will dictate how your future looks like. So if you want a future that will bring you the most abundant life, the most amazing and beautiful, fulfilling life, the only thing you can do is live from today. If you want to create a life that is so beautiful, all you have to do is focus in the now. What can you do today? Right? So what can you do today to feel excited? Because believe it or not, your excitement, this happy little feeling you have inside, is an indicator of your intuition, and it'll lead you to your purpose. And when I say your purpose, I'm not saying, oh, to be a millionaire and to live in a mansion. When I say purpose, I mean what your soul came here to do. Because sometimes our purpose is to literally to just own a flower shop and be content in that way. We're all unique, and purpose is what fulfills us the absolute most for our soul's purpose in this lifetime. If you want to live from your purpose, you just have to live from excitement today. What can you do today to live in excitement? And if you want to discover your purpose as well, something to ask yourself is, what is the most exciting thing that I get to do in my life? Or what would be the most exciting thing in my life this lifetime? And when you find that answer, ask yourself, what is the highest form of expressing this excitement? And that is literally your purpose. Do that, bestie, and see how your life changes. I asked myself this question, what excites me the most? And honestly, I would say what excites me the most is inspiring others, being happy, being confident. What is the highest expression of this? Literally what I'm doing, social media, making my podcast, being online and making content, that makes me so happy. I don't know, it just fulfills a sense of me, and I've been doing this since I was a little girl, right? And that's how I know that this truly is my purpose. I don't need to be rich, I don't need to be famous, I don't need anything. I just love doing this, and this brings me happiness. And with that vibration today, right, I get to do this today. With that vibration, I am high. I'm on a high vibration today because I did something I love, and being able to do this again tomorrow, something I love, and then doing it again the day after, and doing it every day for the rest of my life is a high vibration. You are in a high vibration, and you are living in your purpose. You are living in your excitement, right? That is so high vibrational that the universe only will bring you what you put out in the world. And so if you want to create a high vibration life, the only way to do that is to be high vibration today. I heard somewhere that the universe is literally unconditional love, and what this means is that the universe gives you everything you ask for. And so when you say, universe, I need this to be happy. Universe, I need to be making this much. Universe, I need this. The universe says, yes, I love you so much. Yes, I will give you this. But when you say, I need this, you are telling the universe, I am in lack. I need because I lack. And so the universe says, yes, I will give you more need. I will give you more of that feeling of lack because I love you and I say yes to everything you ask of me. And so the universe will continue to give you what you're putting out. And so needing, trying to meet expectations and this feeling of lack that you have internally will only bring you more of that. And so to combat that, to speak with the language of the universe is not to put out this desperate energy, right? To speak with the universe is to give the universe high vibration in order to get high vibration back. And so to release control and release all of these desires and expectations, literally just do what you love today, tells the universe, I am in high vibration. And so the universe gives it back to you. And that is why excitement is so important, because excitement is literally the only high vibration that the universe understands. The universe literally does not understand words, English. The universe doesn't understand these things. So you could say, oh universe, I need to manifest this degree. The universe doesn't hear these words and says, I'll give you the degree. The universe hears your energy and goes, oh, this person's desperate, this person needs, right? And so that's why it's so important to just work on your energy more so than anything else. And when you think about good energy, you think of love, right? You think of compassion, you think of happiness, excitement. Finally being in this place in my life right now where I can let go and surrender and just trust and live in WOAY, right? Allowing things to flow. With that, it has allowed the universe to just bring what it needs to bring me in the way that it needs to bring me, in the most natural state. And with that has just gave me so much contentment. I don't know, does that make sense? Because I'm not forcing anything, the universe is bringing me everything that is meant for me. And with this releasing, guys, I have achieved more in the sense of material ways than when I was trying so hard. Does that make sense? Like, without these expectations, right? We all want to be courageous. We all want to be resilient, but with releasing the control, I allowed these character traits to come to me naturally. And you know, I did my speech and that was crazy. I felt so brave and scared, but also brave. You know, that day I chose excitement, which was the speech. And being in flow has finally released me from the fears I had from society and from my own expectations. And finally I was able to go out of the country, go to Paris, go to New York. And I don't know, living in flow has brought more fulfillment to me than anything else. I don't know, that just makes me really happy. I guess that's just everything I had to say on how to lose control and just living in your own ebb and flow, living with your own authentic story that the universe has already planned for you. You know, society making you feel like you have to work hard and you have to get here so you will be successful. But it's our human nature to want to feel accepted by our community, right? But will you do it at your own expense? Like, will you do it at the expense of your own happiness? I know I won't. I will be happy in my own way, and that's all that matters to me. People could literally look at me right now and be like, oh, this girl lives with her parents still. But then I look at it like, I am so happy. Like, I am so content. And anyone who judges me and anyone who judges you, it's never about you. It's not about me. It is always about them and their own insecurities being projected onto you. So live your own authentic truth, baby girl. That is all that matters. You have your own story that's unfolding. So stop resisting and just allow. What's meant for you will come to you because it is literally meant for you. Your higher self has everything that you are meant to have, and that's that. That's the natural cycle. And so you don't have to do anything, but just allow these intuitive hits to come. Allow yourself to flow and see how beautiful and profound that will become for you. So now we're gonna move on to the Q&A portion. You know, honestly, now that this episode has continued, I'm not feeling very confident in it, and I think it's just the perfectionist in me, the person that just wants to live up to my own expectations. But I'm gonna upload this episode anyways because I know there's someone out there ready to hear this message. And then there's other people that are gonna be like, all right, this bitch does not know how to talk, and that's totally fine. All right, so the first question is, what is your golden rule in life? My absolute golden rule is to live authentically. That is absolutely the most important thing in the entire world. I just want to live authentically. I want to be happy, and I don't want to live due to other people's expectations. I don't think that's why I was put on this earth to do. And it's honestly a unique thing because most people don't live in their authentic truth. Most people go to school even though they don't even like school, and that's not authentic. You're forcing yourself, babe. So I guess that's my golden rule, which is why I always try my best to promote this because it has literally changed my life, and I know it will change your life as well. The next question is, how do you deal with your bad days, and how do you keep the consistency of being the same? I think the reality is we have bad days. Like, you know, we are gonna have good days and bad days. That's very natural. So when you have a bad day, allow it. Allow your day to just be bad. And that's something that I don't know, it's a weird thing to say, but I live by that now. Like, if I have a bad day, I'm just gonna allow it to be my bad day, because I understand that bad days will happen and then it'll go away. Everything is temporary. But when you have a bad day and you resist it and you're trying to deny these emotions that are going through you, trying to deny what's happening, and I guess just internalizing a lot of like the negative feelings you could be having that day, it doesn't really go away. It actually just stays inside you. Like, bad days, I guess, or negative thoughts are just energy. And so when you kind of ignore it and pretend it's not happening, it just stays inside your body and it holds trauma there. And so one day it'll just come out in a really weird way. And so when I have negative thoughts or a negative day, I really just allow myself to just experience it. Obviously, I don't allow it to hold power over my identity and who I am, but I do allow myself to just feel things through. And so when I have bad days, I will allow it to be a bad day, but I do other things to kind of just help it be a very intentional bad day, where it's something that is actually helping me rather than hindering me. And so when I have a bad day, like, I will stay in, I'll light my candles, I'll do some self-care, read books, light my incense stick, light a candle, and have it be a meaningful bad day, if that makes sense. Like, I'm not gonna have a bad day and allow it to just be something where I'm just existing and then the next day comes. I have it be a bad day, and then I think through the entire day, why do I feel this way? What's happening? What can I do tomorrow to allow my day to be less negative? You know, it's intentional. Everything in my life is intentional. That's also another golden rule I live by. When you live with giving everything that's happening to you a meaning, you live in a growth mindset, and the bad days are not gonna go unseen. With the bad days, you will always learn something about yourself, and you can take that into your future. And so sometimes, you know, you have bad days and you have these negative thoughts, but like the yin and yang in Taoism, because in Taoism there's this yin and yang concept where there's light and dark, and with dark there are profound lessons in it too. There could not be light without dark. You could not feel happy if you've never felt unhappy, right? And so I embrace the dark and bad days, because that to me means the good days are coming. But like I said, when you ignore the dark days and don't allow it to happen and you prolong it, the light days take longer to come because you're resisting. Being in ebb and flow and being in the Tao is allowing yourself to just flow and be an observer of your reality, I guess, and just allowing things to just happen and not resisting, because if there's bad days, it's meant to be a bad day, and just allow it so that you can have your good days. So I don't know, I live in this like yin and yang kind of perspective. Like, whenever I have my bad days, I kind of just embrace it. And then also with that, you also asked, how do you keep the consistency of being the same? You know, I have a routine and I try my best to live in my routine, but not being consistent is also okay. We live in a society that makes you feel like you have to be consistent, but consistency literally looks like an up and down hill. Like, some days you're consistent, some days you're not. Some months you are, some months you're not, but you have an entire lifetime to live, and it's okay to not be consistent. Society made that word up, okay? Society makes us feel like we have to be consistent, but if that doesn't make you happy, that's totally fine. I don't know, I don't think my life is very consistent, but I'm happy, and that's all that matters. And if I'm having a bad day, that's okay. If I'm not living a life that's consistent, that's okay too. I give myself grace. Self-love is literally grace. Giving yourself that compassion to allow your life to play out the way it needs to, the way your mental health needs it to, the way your body needs it to, the way your soul needs it to. Self-love is truly listening to your body and listening to what you need. If there's a certain day where you feel like going to the gym is forceful, then don't go. This next one is how to deal with toxic family members. I like this one, honestly. So I definitely have a few toxic family members, but I feel like the only reason a toxic family member would actually affect me is if I give what they say power, right? I give them power over how my thoughts play out. I give them power over my self-esteem, my confidence. And so if you're having a family member that honestly just doesn't make you feel very good, you are giving up your power to their own judgments. And so moments like this, it's very important to observe how they make you feel and ask yourself why you feel this way, where this has stemmed from, and how you can call your power back. It's honestly easier said than done though, because this is also what we call like doing shadow work, because having toxic family members, it goes down to the core of like traumas you've held from childhood, and working with your traumas is not easy. Shadow work is not easy, but it's so profound, and you're going to become so much stronger in that. For example, if you have a family member that judges you for how much makeup you wear, I guess, and it hurts your feelings, right? Oh no, my mom says I'm wearing too much makeup, oh how embarrassing, and I feel less confident wearing makeup. Well, ask yourself, why do I feel less confident in doing something that I love? Because of my mom judging me. Why does judgment affect me? And then ask yourself, is it possibly because we hate feeling outcasted? We don't like feeling like we're not in community with people? Do we not like feeling alone? You know, it goes down to the core, and so this is like a ladder you're gonna have to walk in order to learn how to deal with toxic family members. But me personally, I definitely have had my fair share, but like I said, I try not to give them power over my life. And I also have come to this understanding that your parents only know what they know, your family only knows what they know, and so when they judge you or they do all these things that hurt your feelings, it's not even about you. At the end of the day, it's just them projecting their own insecurities onto you. And so it's never been about you, girl. It's about them and how they were treated when they were a child. And so when parents or family members treat you with anything that makes you feel less deserving, it's because they themselves were taught that and they grew up not feeling deserving. So when I learned this perspective, it kind of allowed me to give family members more grace, because I'm like, you know, they literally don't know any better. This is what they were taught. If you want to do something right to your family members, this is something I've been doing, is giving my family members the love that they wish they would have had. And I have this really good eye of being able to read people and reading their, I guess, negative patterns that they were taught. I don't know, like this is like a new thing I've unlocked about myself. I can literally like talk to someone and be like, oh, I see where your family could have given you more love in this area, right? And so in these situations, I try not to get angry or lash out on someone that could have hurt my feelings, because if my feelings are hurt, that's about me and the power I gave them. But I try not to yell, I try not to be angry, and I try to give them love. Love is the answer to everything. I try to just express how I feel in a more like loving way. Sometimes when people are being toxic, they don't know they're being toxic, and so when you reach back at them with being toxic too, it just puts them in defense mode. So when I try to communicate how I'm feeling to toxic family members, I try to be more compassionate and more kind, because sometimes people just need that in order for them to reflect it back to you. But if they're being assholes, like, girl, it is time to distance yourself. Anyways, guys, that is it for today's episode. This was kind of a long one, but you guys have been asking for a long one for a fat minute now, so hopefully I didn't ramble too much. I low-key did though. I'm so sorry. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys in my next episode. Bye.